Tom had always loved Willow Lake. It was quiet, calm, and far enough from the busy town that he could think clearly there. Every morning, he would walk along the shore, feeling the soft grass under his feet and listening to the birds sing. The sunlight would touch the water, making it shine like little pieces of gold scattered across the surface. On Saturdays, he liked to invite friends to enjoy the lake with him, to fish, to talk, or just sit and watch the water move slowly. That Saturday, Tom had invited his close friends, Mia and Daniel, for a day at the lake. They had packed a cooler with sandwiches, drinks, and some snacks. Daniel carried a small fishing kit, and Mia brought a blanket to sit on. The three of them laughed as they walked down the small path from the parking area to the water. The air smelled of pine and fresh earth. Everything felt perfect, peaceful, and normal. But peace did not last long. A sharp, commanding voice broke the morning calm. "Hey! You there! Stop right now!" Tom and his friends turned quickly. A woman was striding toward them, her expression stern. She looked strict and serious, with sunglasses that hid her eyes and a wide sun hat that made her appear taller. She carried a clipboard tightly in one hand and wore clothing that looked more suited for an important meeting than a sunny day by the lake. "I'm Karen," she announced loudly, as if saying her name alone would make everyone obey her. "This is Hoa property. You're not allowed to have guests here." Tom frowned, feeling a sudden tension in the air. "Actually, this is my property," he said calmly but firmly. "My family owns this land. We can enjoy it as we like." Karen's eyes narrowed, and her mouth tightened into a thin line. She seemed surprised, almost angry. "No, you're wrong," she said sharply. "Everyone must follow the Hoa rules. You can't just bring people here." Mia and Daniel exchanged worried glances. Mia held the blanket closer to her chest, and Daniel gripped his fishing rod tightly. The birds stopped singing for a moment, as if even nature sensed the tension. Tom stepped a little closer, trying to stay calm. "Karen, my grandfather bought this land many years before the Hoa existed. You do not have authority here. My friends and I can be here without anyone's permission." Karen looked flustered, but she tried to appear confident. "That doesn't matter. Rules are rules." "You have to wait," Tom interrupted, raising his hand in a gentle but firm gesture. "Let me make it very clear. This is private land. I'm not asking you for permission. I am telling you. My friends and I can enjoy it. This lake belongs to my family, not the Hoa." For the first time, Karen seemed frozen. Her confident stance faltered, and she blinked, unable to speak. Her clipboard wavered slightly in her hand, and she shifted from one foot to the other. Daniel whispered to Mia, "She didn't expect him to say that, did she?" Mia nodded quietly. "No, she looks frozen." Tom smiled slightly, but he kept his voice calm. "It's okay, guys. Don't let her ruin our day. She's just trying to scare us." Karen's lips moved as if she wanted to argue more, but the words never came out. She seemed unsure, powerless, and for a moment, her strict attitude disappeared. Tom could see her trying to figure out what to do next. He looked at his friends. "Come on, let's set up. The lake is ours today." Mia spread the blanket near the water's edge while Daniel started arranging the fishing rods. Tom opened the cooler and handed out sandwiches. Slowly, the tension began to fade. Laughter returned, mixing with the sound of gentle waves against the shore. Karen stayed standing on the grass, watching them, but she did not move closer. She appeared frustrated, but there was nothing she could do. Tom felt a mix of satisfaction and relief. He had stood his ground, and no one could take that moment away from him. As the sun rose higher, reflecting off the rippling water, Tom felt the calm return. He looked at Mia and Daniel, smiling. "See? Everything's fine. Let's enjoy it while we can." Daniel nodded, glancing at Karen one last time. "She's probably going to report us, but, at least we're here first." Mia laughed softly. "Let her. I'm not moving. This is so peaceful." Tom agreed. "Exactly. No one can take our time here. Not today." The three of them spent the next few minutes unpacking, laughing, and watching the small fish jump near the shore. For now, the lake was theirs, and the morning sun warmed their spirits. Tom knew that Karen might come back with more rules or complaints, but he also knew he could protect what was his. The lake, the land, and these moments of friendship were his to enjoy. For now, the day was perfect. After Karen froze at Tom's words, the lake returned to its calm, but the sense of tension lingered in the air. Tom, Mia, and Daniel tried to focus on their day, but he knew it wouldn't be long before Karen tried something again. "Let's set up the fishing rods first," Tom suggested. "We can eat after we catch some fish." Daniel nodded eagerly. He had always loved fishing, even if he wasn't very patient. Mia helped spread the blanket and carefully arranged the cooler and snacks nearby. The morning sun glimmered on the water, and for a moment, the three friends could almost forget the encounter. But Karen didn't leave. She walked along the edge of the property, her clipboard in hand, pretending to take notes but clearly keeping her eyes on them. Every few steps, she muttered something under her breath, probably a complaint or a reminder of rules. Daniel frowned. "She's still here." Tom sighed. "Yeah. She doesn't give up easily. But as long as we stay calm, there's nothing she can do." Mia looked at Tom. "Do you think she'll call the Hoa? Or worse?" Tom shook his head. "Let her try. The land is mine. We're allowed to be here. I just need to make sure we stay calm and don't give her a reason to create problems." Karen finally stopped a few feet away from them. Her posture was still strict, but her face betrayed frustration. She raised her clipboard and said loudly, "I'm warning you. If you stay here, I will have to take official action. There are penalties for breaking Hoa rules." Tom stepped forward calmly, keeping his hands visible. "Karen, I understand you want to follow rules. But these rules don't apply to my property. You can record whatever you want, but it won't change that this is private land. I am not breaking any law or Hoa regulation here." Karen's eyes narrowed, and she opened her mouth to argue, but no words came out. Her face turned red, not with anger but with disbelief. She wasn't used to someone standing up to her so confidently. Mia whispered to Daniel, "I think she's actually shocked." She didn't expect him to be so calm and firm. Daniel nodded. "Yeah, most people would have argued or panicked. But Tom, he's just so calm. It's like nothing phases him." Tom smiled softly and turned toward the lake. "Come on, let's enjoy it. Karen's not going to stop us today." The three of them moved closer to the water. Daniel started casting his fishing line, while Mia arranged snacks and drinks on the blanket. Tom leaned back on his hands, watching the gentle waves, and tried to forget the tension for a while. Karen, however, was not giving up. She started walking closer to the water, still muttering about rules and violations. Her steps were slow and cautious, but her presence was noticeable. Tom noticed her and said calmly, "Karen, please don't get closer. You're on private property now. Stay where you are." Karen stopped mid-step and stared at him. I have to make sure you're not breaking any rules." "You're supposed to." Karen, Tom interrupted, his voice firm but calm, "I am allowed to be here. My friends are allowed to be here. You are standing on my property. I need you to respect that." Karen froze again, her words caught in her throat. She glanced at the water, at the friends enjoying the day, and finally realized that her threats weren't working. For the first time, she looked uncertain, unsure of what to do next. Daniel whispered, "She doesn't know how to react anymore." Mia nodded. "I've never seen anyone so strict, and then so powerless." Tom took a deep breath. He didn't want this to become a confrontation. He wanted a peaceful day with his friends. "Let's just enjoy the lake," he said softly. "Ignore her. She'll leave eventually." Karen looked at them one last time, her strict expression slowly softening into a frustrated frown. She muttered something under her breath and turned, walking back toward the tree line. Tom, Mia, and Daniel relaxed slightly. The immediate tension was gone, at least for now. Daniel laughed quietly. "Well, that was interesting. She's like a storm that freezes in place when it hits you." Mia smiled. "Yeah, but it's kind of funny too. I didn't expect anyone to try so hard to stop us." Tom chuckled softly. "She doesn't understand calm confidence. She thinks yelling or threats will work, but it doesn't. We just have to stay patient." The friends finally settled near the water. Daniel cast his line again, Mia poured drinks from the cooler, and Tom took a deep breath of fresh lake air. The sun was higher now, warm and comforting. The water shimmered with reflections of the trees and the blue sky. For the first time in a while, Tom felt completely at peace. The lake, the sun, the sound of water and birds, all of it belonged to him today. Karen could try all she wanted, but she could not take away the simple happiness of this moment. And for Tom, that was what mattered most: calm, friends, and the quiet joy of a morning by the lake. The morning sunlight danced on Willow Lake, sparkling on the gentle ripples as Tom, Mia, and Daniel enjoyed their peaceful moment. Daniel had finally caught a small fish, and Mia clapped softly in excitement. Tom smiled, feeling proud of his friend's happiness. For a while, it seemed like Karen's interruption was over. But Tom knew better. He had seen people like Karen before, those who would not give up easily. Her sharp voice and controlling attitude could not be silenced for long. Sure enough, around mid-morning, the distant sound of a car engine reached them. Tom looked up. A sleek, black SUV rolled slowly down the small dirt road leading to the lake. Karen stepped out, carrying her clipboard and a new determination in her eyes. She was no longer walking cautiously, this time, she strode forward with purpose. "She's back," Daniel muttered, tensing as he grabbed his fishing rod. Mia's eyes widened. "I thought she would leave." Tom held up a hand, signaling calm. "It's okay. We stay calm, and we handle this without arguing. Remember, this is our land." Karen stopped near the water's edge, glaring at them. "I've called the HOA office," she said firmly. "They will send someone to check this property. You have no right to bring people here." Tom shook his head, speaking slowly and clearly. "Karen, I have already explained. This land belongs to my family. You may call whoever you want, but no one can take my property or prevent me from enjoying it. Please leave us alone so we can continue our day." Karen's face tightened. She opened her mouth as if to argue, but she paused, staring at Tom as if trying to figure out how to respond to his calmness. Her frustration was visible, but she could not find a way to challenge him. Mia whispered, "She looks angry, but powerless." Daniel nodded. "Yeah. She's trying to be scary, but it's not working." Tom sighed and gestured toward the lake. "Come on, let's enjoy it. She can threaten all she wants, but it won't change anything. The lake is ours today." Karen muttered under her breath and took a few steps closer, pointing at Daniel. "Even your guests are not allowed. You cannot bring anyone here." Tom held up his hand firmly. "Karen, Daniel, and Mia are my guests. You do not have authority here. You need to stop." For the first time, Karen froze completely. She had always relied on rules and threats to control people, but here, her usual tactics had no effect. She blinked, looked at the lake, and then back at the friends who were calmly enjoying their morning. Daniel whispered with a small grin, "It's like she doesn't know what to do anymore." Mia nodded, smiling. "She's probably trying to figure out how to win without yelling." Tom smiled softly. "Exactly. That's the power of calm confidence. She can threaten all she wants, but it won't make us move." Karen stood there for a few moments, her clipboard shaking slightly. Finally, she let out a long sigh, clearly trying to regain her composure. I will be back," she said stiffly, turning back toward her SUV. "This is not over." Tom watched her leave, shaking his head slightly. "Well, that was dramatic." Daniel laughed quietly. "Yeah. She really believes she can control everything. But she forgot one thing: this is your land." Mia smiled and poured some juice into their cups. "I still can't believe she tried so hard. It's almost funny, seeing her so frustrated." Tom leaned back on the blanket, feeling the warmth of the sun on his face. Sometimes, people who are used to controlling others can't handle calm honesty and patience. "We didn't yell. We didn't fight. We just stayed calm. That's what made her powerless." The friends continued their day. Daniel tried to catch more fish, Mia collected small smooth stones along the shore, and Tom helped her arrange them in a small line by the water. The gentle lapping of the lake, the rustling of leaves, and the laughter of friends filled the air. By late morning, the lake had regained its peaceful charm. Even after Karen's dramatic return, the friends felt relaxed again. The sun reflected on the water, and the breeze brought the fresh scent of pine. Tom watched his friends and felt a sense of pride. He had defended the land without anger, without creating a scene. He had shown that patience and calmness were stronger than threats. Mia looked up at him and said, "Tom, I'm glad you're my friend. You stay calm even when someone tries to ruin the day." Daniel nodded. "Yeah. Most people would have argued or gotten upset. But you stayed calm and made her freeze. That's amazing." Tom smiled, feeling a deep satisfaction. "Thanks, guys. But it's not about being amazing. It's about enjoying what's ours and not letting anyone take it away. That's all." The friends spent the next hour playing near the water, skipping stones, and laughing at small fish that jumped out of the lake. Karen's threat seemed far away, and for now, the morning was theirs to enjoy. Tom knew that she might come again, but he also knew that calm confidence and truth would always protect him and his friends on their land. As the sun climbed higher, reflecting golden light across Willow Lake, Tom felt a quiet joy. For the first time that day, everything felt completely right. The lake, the friends, and the laughter all belonged to them. And no matter what Karen tried next, that truth could never be taken away. By early afternoon, the sun hung high in the sky, casting warm light over Willow Lake. Tom, Mia, and Daniel had settled into a comfortable rhythm. Daniel was still fishing, occasionally letting out a quiet cheer whenever a fish tugged on his line. Mia had collected several smooth stones and was arranging them in playful patterns along the water's edge. Tom sat nearby, enjoying the soft breeze and the sound of water lapping against the shore. For a moment, it felt like nothing could disturb the calm. But the peace did not last. From the edge of the tree line, Tom noticed movement. Karen was returning, this time carrying a camera and some papers. Her pace was purposeful, and her eyes were fixed firmly on them. Tom's stomach tightened slightly. He knew she had not given up. "She's back, again," Daniel whispered, lowering his fishing rod. Mia frowned, holding the blanket close. "Why won't she just leave? It's clearly your land, Tom." Tom took a deep breath. "Because she's used to trying to control everyone. Some people can't handle being told no. But we stay calm, and she won't have power over us." Karen stopped a few feet away, her camera raised slightly as if she wanted to take pictures of the group. "I am documenting this," she said loudly. "The HOA office needs proof that you are ignoring rules." Tom stood slowly, keeping his tone calm but firm. "Karen, you may take pictures if you want. It doesn't change anything. This is private land. I am allowed to be here with my friends, and we are enjoying our property. No threats, no complaints, nothing can take that away from us." Karen's eyes narrowed, but for the first time, her voice wavered slightly. You can't just say that. Rules are rules." Tom shook his head. "Rules don't apply to land that isn't under your control. This land is my family's. I respect rules where they matter, but you cannot apply HOA rules here. Please understand that." Mia whispered quietly to Daniel, "She looks almost defeated this time." Daniel nodded. "Yeah. She's trying so hard, but she has nothing to use against us." Karen took a deep breath, muttering under her breath. She raised the camera again, then paused and lowered it slightly. She was clearly unsure how to continue. She had expected anger or panic, but instead, she found calm confidence that she could not break. Tom noticed this hesitation and decided to speak gently but firmly. "Karen, I don't want a conflict. I want to enjoy the day with my friends. You can document whatever you want, but please don't interfere. That's all I ask." Karen blinked. The words were unexpected. Usually, people would argue back, but Tom's calmness and honesty seemed to catch her off guard. She shifted her weight from foot to foot, clearly unsure of how to respond. Daniel whispered with a small smile, "She's trying to figure out how to react again. She doesn't know what to do." Mia giggled quietly. "I think she's realizing that she can't scare us. That's why she looks so frustrated." Tom smiled. "Exactly. Calm honesty can sometimes be stronger than any rule or threat. She thought her authority would scare us, but it doesn't." Karen stayed silent for a few more moments, her hands shaking slightly as she held the camera. Finally, she muttered, "This isn't over," and slowly turned back toward the tree line, leaving a trail of frustration behind her. Tom exhaled, relieved but aware that the day was far from over. She's determined, isn't she? Daniel laughed softly. Yeah, but every time she tries, she just makes herself look, well, powerless. You stay so calm, she doesn't know how to fight back. Mia smiled, setting down the blanket. I still can't believe she came back again. Most people would have left after the first warning. She must really think she's right. Tom chuckled softly. Some people can't accept that they are wrong. That's okay. Today, we enjoy the lake, and she can go wherever she wants. Her frustration doesn't belong here. The friends returned to their activities. Daniel cast his line again, Mia skipped stones, and Tom watched them with a soft smile. The sun's warmth, the laughter of his friends, and the calm ripples of the lake reminded him why he loved this place so much. As the afternoon went on, the friends shared stories, laughed quietly, and enjoyed simple snacks. Karen did not return immediately, and for now, they could relax. The birds sang again, and the small fish leapt occasionally from the water, catching the sunlight. The lake seemed to hold its peace once more. Tom felt a quiet satisfaction. He had defended his land without anger, without shouting, without creating unnecessary conflict. Calmness, honesty, and patience had been his strongest tools. And as long as he held onto them, no one could take away his peace or his happiness with friends. Mia looked at him with a warm smile. Tom, you're amazing. You stay so calm even when someone is so determined to annoy you. Daniel nodded. Yeah. Most people would argue endlessly. But you just stay calm and win in your own way. Tom smiled softly. Thanks, guys. But it's not about winning. It's about enjoying what's ours and not letting anyone ruin it. That's all. The sun began to lower slightly, casting a golden glow over the water. The friends continued to enjoy the lake, feeling the warmth and peace of their special place. And for now, Willow Lake was theirs, safe, calm, and full of quiet joy. By late afternoon, the sun had moved lower in the sky, casting long golden reflections across Willow Lake. Tom, Mia, and Daniel had spent hours enjoying the water, fishing, and laughing quietly. The lake felt peaceful again, almost as if Karen had finally given up. But Tom knew better. People like Karen rarely gave up so easily. Sure enough, a few minutes later, a car engine echoed through the trees. Tom squinted and saw Karen's SUV slowly making its way down the dirt path. This time, she had brought two other people with her. One held a small clipboard, and the other carried a notebook, both looking serious and ready to assist her in enforcing rules. Mia whispered, "She brought, back up." Her eyes widened in surprise. Daniel frowned, gripping his fishing rod. "I knew she wouldn't stop, but I didn't think she'd bring anyone else." Tom stood, taking a deep breath. He stayed calm, knowing that keeping a steady mind was more important than reacting angrily. "It's okay. We know the land is ours. We stay calm, and nothing they do will matter." Karen's group reached the water's edge, and she immediately began speaking in a loud, commanding tone. "You are trespassing on HOA rules. This is a violation. I am reporting everything, and you will face consequences." Tom raised his hand slightly, his voice calm but firm. "Karen, your rules do not apply here. This is private land owned by my family. We have every right to be here. Your threats cannot change that." One of the backup people stepped forward, holding the clipboard. "She is right," he said nervously. We were told to make sure people follow rules. We just," his voice trailed off as he looked at the calm scene before him. Tom smiled gently. You don't need to worry. We are not doing anything illegal. Please understand that this is our land. We only want to enjoy the lake. Karen's face turned red with frustration. She opened her mouth to argue, but then she noticed how calm and relaxed Tom, Mia, and Daniel were. They were smiling, talking softly, and laughing quietly as if nothing could disturb them. Daniel whispered to Mia, "Look at her. She's getting frustrated, but we're still calm." "That's funny." Mia nodded quietly. "Yeah. She's expecting us to panic or argue. But we're just enjoying the day. It's like she doesn't know what to do." Tom spoke again, his voice steady. "Karen, I am asking you calmly. Please leave us alone. You cannot control this land. You cannot control who I bring here. We just want a peaceful day." Karen's backup team exchanged uncertain glances. The man holding the clipboard shifted awkwardly, and the woman with the notebook looked confused. They had expected resistance, yelling, maybe panic, but instead, they found calm honesty and confidence. Karen froze for a moment, gripping her clipboard tightly. Her face betrayed disbelief. She had always relied on threats and rules to control people, but Tom's calm demeanor seemed to block every tactic she had. Finally, she muttered angrily, This isn't over. I will make sure the Hoa takes action. You will regret this." Tom shook his head slightly. "Karen, you can say whatever you want. But threats and anger do not change the truth. This is our land. You cannot take that away from us." Karen turned sharply, marching back toward her SUV. Her assistants followed reluctantly, clearly unsure of what to do. They muttered among themselves, but their words did not reach Tom and his friends. Daniel laughed quietly. "Well, that's the third time she's tried. And it hasn't worked any of the times." Mia smiled, shaking her head. "She really thinks she can scare people with rules. But calm honesty is stronger than rules sometimes." Tom nodded, looking out over the lake. "Exactly. Calmness and truth are always stronger than threats. That's something everyone should remember." The friends returned to their activities. Daniel tried again to catch fish. Mia carefully arranged some small leaves and stones along the shoreline, and Tom sat back, enjoying the warmth of the late afternoon sun. The gentle ripples of the lake, the laughter of friends, and the soft rustle of leaves created a perfect moment. For Tom, the day was not about proving anything to Karen. It was about enjoying what belonged to him, protecting it with calm and patience, and sharing it with people he cared about. That sense of peace was stronger than any rule, any threat, or any attempt at control. As the sun began to dip toward the horizon, casting long shadows across the lake, Tom felt a quiet joy. The land, the lake, and these simple moments of friendship were his, and no one could take them away. Mia leaned back on the blanket, smiling at Tom. "You know, I've learned something today. Calm confidence really does work. Watching you handle her, it's kind of inspiring." Daniel nodded, smiling as he cast another fishing line. "Yeah. Most people would have panicked or shouted. But you stayed calm, and that's what made her freeze every time." Tom smiled, feeling a sense of satisfaction. "Thanks, guys. But it's really simple. Enjoy what's yours, stay calm, and don't let anyone take your peace away. That's all." The friends continued to enjoy the lake as the sky turned orange and pink with the coming sunset. For now, Willow Lake was theirs, a place of calm, laughter, and quiet happiness, untouched by frustration or control. And as long as they stayed together and stayed calm, no one could ever take that away. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, painting Willow Lake in shades of gold and orange, Tom, Mia, and Daniel continued to enjoy their afternoon. Daniel was still trying to catch a fish, and Mia was quietly arranging smooth stones along the water's edge. Tom leaned back on the blanket, feeling the warmth of the sun and listening to the gentle sounds of the lake. For a while, it seemed like Karen had finally given up. There was no sound of her approaching car, no shouting, no threatening voice. The friends relaxed, thinking that at last, they could enjoy their peaceful day without interruption. But just as Tom poured some lemonade into their cups, he noticed movement at the far edge of the property. Karen's figure appeared again, walking with determination. This time, she was alone, but she moved with a purpose that made it clear she was not leaving without one last attempt to assert control. Mia frowned. "She's back, again." Daniel sighed, shaking his head. "I can't believe she won't just leave. We're not even doing anything wrong." Tom stood calmly. "That's the thing. People like Karen believe they are always right. They don't give up easily. But today, we stay calm. We don't let her ruin this day." Karen stopped near the water and raised her hand sharply. "I am warning you one last time. You cannot have guests here. You are violating HOA rules." Tom took a deep breath. His voice was calm, steady, and firm. "Karen, this is private land. The rules you speak of do not apply here. My friends and I are allowed to be here. You may threaten, you may complain, but none of it changes the truth. We are enjoying our property peacefully, and I am asking you to leave us alone." Karen blinked, clearly frustrated. She opened her mouth to speak, but then she hesitated. She had expected arguments, anger, panic, but instead, she found calm confidence. Tom's words were not loud or aggressive, yet they carried authority because they were rooted in truth. Daniel whispered to Mia, "She's confused. She doesn't know how to react." Mia nodded quietly. "Yeah. Her usual tactics aren't working. She can't scare us, and it's like she doesn't have a plan anymore." Tom noticed Karen's hesitation and decided to continue gently but firmly. "Karen, I do not want conflict. You are welcome to leave if you choose, but trying to control us here does not work. This land belongs to my family. The lake belongs to my family. And we are simply enjoying it. There is no reason for anger or arguments." Karen's hands trembled slightly as she gripped her clipboard. She looked around, noticing the peaceful scene, the friends laughing quietly, skipping stones, and enjoying the afternoon. For a moment, she seemed almost unsure of herself, realizing that her threats had no effect. Finally, Karen let out a long sigh, dropping her clipboard to her side. This isn't over," she muttered, though her voice lacked the confidence it had before. Slowly, she turned and walked back toward the edge of the property, her steps heavier and her posture less confident than before. Daniel laughed softly. "Well, that's the fourth time. And every time, she just looks more frustrated." Mia smiled, shaking her head. "She really doesn't understand calm honesty. She's used to controlling people, and she doesn't know how to handle this." Tom smiled gently, feeling a deep sense of satisfaction. "Exactly. Calm confidence, honesty, and patience are stronger than threats or rules. Today, we've proven that." The friends returned to their activities. Daniel tried once more to catch a fish. Mia arranged the stones in little patterns by the water, and Tom leaned back on the blanket, enjoying the warmth of the sun and the soft rustle of leaves. The lake seemed peaceful again, almost as if it were celebrating their calm victory. As the sun continued to set, Tom thought about the day. It had started with tension, frustration, and threats, but it had ended with peace, laughter, and calm strength. Karen had tried repeatedly to control them, but she had failed each time because they stayed grounded in truth and confidence. Mia looked at Tom with a smile. "You really stayed calm the whole time. I'm proud of you. Most people would have gotten upset or angry." Daniel nodded, holding his fishing rod carefully. "Yeah. I think she learned today that she can't scare anyone who is calm and honest." "That's kind of amazing." Tom smiled softly. "Thanks, guys. But it's simple. Enjoy what's yours, stay calm, and don't let anyone take away your peace. That's all that matters." The sun finally began to dip below the horizon, casting the lake in warm shades of orange and pink. The friends watched silently as the colors reflected on the gentle ripples. For a moment, everything was perfect, peaceful, quiet, and full of soft joy. Tom realized that this day was more than just a victory over Karen. It was a reminder that patience and calm honesty were stronger than threats and anger. And most importantly, it was a day he could share with friends he cared about, on land that was his own. Mia leaned back on the blanket, smiling. "I hope she finally understands that she can't control everything. Some things belong to people who protect them with calmness, not anger." Daniel chuckled softly. "Yeah. I think she learned that the hard way today." Tom smiled, feeling a warm satisfaction. "She might come back another day, but today, we showed that truth and calm are stronger than threats. That's what really matters." The friends sat quietly as the last rays of sunlight reflected on Willow Lake. The day had been long and full of challenges, but it ended with peace, friendship, and a sense of victory. And for Tom, Mia, and Daniel, that was the most important part. The evening air was soft and cool over Willow Lake. The sun had almost disappeared, leaving the sky painted in soft purples and pinks. Tom, Mia, and Daniel sat quietly on the blanket, feeling the gentle breeze brush across their faces. The day had been long and full of tension, but now it was finally peaceful. For a while, there was no sign of Karen. Tom watched the far edge of the property carefully, expecting her to return one last time. But as the minutes passed, it became clear that she had left for good. The calm she had tried to disrupt was intact, and the friends could finally relax completely. Daniel stretched and let out a small laugh. "I can't believe it. She's really gone this time. I thought she'd never stop." Mia smiled, looking out over the lake. "Yeah, it feels good to finally just enjoy the place. No threats, no yelling, just peace." Tom nodded, feeling a deep sense of relief. "Exactly. Today was about more than just dealing with Karen. It was about protecting what belongs to us and enjoying it without fear. We did that, and that's something worth celebrating." Daniel picked up his fishing rod and cast his line one last time. And look. The lake didn't even care about her. It's still beautiful, still peaceful. That's what matters. Mia giggled and arranged the stones she had collected earlier into a small pattern near the water. "It's like we left our mark today, but in a calm and happy way. Not angry or mean, just positive." Tom smiled at his friends. "Exactly. That's how we handle challenges. Not with anger, not with threats, but with calmness and confidence." That's how you win without fighting. As the sun dipped fully below the horizon, the lake reflected the soft colors of twilight. The birds had begun to settle in the trees, and the gentle sounds of water lapping against the shore filled the air. Everything seemed to belong to them this peaceful evening, the lake, and the land surrounding it. Daniel leaned back on the blanket, looking at the sky. You know, Tom, I think Karen actually learned something today, even if she won't admit it. She saw that rules and threats can't control people who know the truth and stay calm. Mia nodded thoughtfully. Yeah, she probably thinks she's powerful, but really, today she just saw that calm honesty beats anger every time. Tom felt a warm satisfaction. It's not about proving her wrong. It's about living right and protecting what's ours. That's what matters most. And today, we did that. The friends stayed silent for a while, watching the sky change from pink to dark purple. Small ripples moved across the water as the evening breeze passed over the lake. The air smelled faintly of pine and fresh earth, carrying a quiet calm that made them all feel at peace. Mia broke the silence softly. I'm really glad you invited us here today, Tom. It's been amazing, despite everything. Daniel nodded, smiling. Yeah. It was fun, and I learned something important too. Calm confidence really works. And protecting what's yours isn't about fighting, it's about knowing the truth and standing firm. Tom smiled, feeling proud of his friends and of the way the day had turned out. Exactly. And we've done that. The lake, the land, and this evening, these are ours. And no one can take that away from us. As night began to fall, the friends gathered their things, making sure to leave the area just as clean as they had found it. Daniel carefully packed the fishing gear, Mia folded the blanket, and Tom collected the stones she had arranged. Everything was in order, and the land felt calm, untouched, and safe. Before they left, Tom took one last look at Willow Lake. The soft moonlight reflected on the gentle ripples, making the water shimmer like tiny diamonds. He felt a deep connection to the place, its calm, its beauty, and the simple joy it had given him and his friends. Mia sighed contentedly. I'm going to remember this day for a long time. It wasn't just fun, it was peaceful in a way I don't forget easily. Daniel nodded in agreement. Yeah. And it taught me something too. Challenges come, but if you stay calm and honest, you can handle them without anger or fear. Tom smiled warmly. Exactly. Today wasn't just about defending the land. It was about learning how to face challenges, protect what's ours, and enjoy life despite obstacles. That's a lesson for all of us. As they walked back to the car under the soft glow of the rising moon, Tom felt a sense of satisfaction and peace that only a day like this could bring. Karen's attempts had been loud, dramatic, and frustrating, but they could not touch the calm joy and friendship that had filled the day. Mia turned to Tom and said softly, "Thank you for sharing this place with us. Today was really special." Daniel smiled and added, "Yeah. And we proved something too. Calmness and truth are stronger than anger or threats. That's a lesson I won't forget." Tom nodded, looking back at the lake one last time. Exactly. And Willow Lake will always be here for us, peaceful, calm, and full of life. Today, we protected that, and that's all that matters. The friends drove away slowly, the soft moonlight guiding them along the dirt path. Willow Lake remained behind them, calm and shimmering, a quiet witness to a day of friendship, patience, and calm confidence. And for Tom, Mia, and Daniel, it would always be a reminder that truth and calm could overcome even the most stubborn obstacles.